Okay, have you seen this trending online? The Florida Man Challenge? Well, it is the internet's next craze. The name of the game is to Google Florida Man and your date of birth. Then you post the first wacky story to come up. It's been just a few days since the challenge was first tweeted out. It's already got thousands of people retweeting it. Hashtag Florida Man has been trending. Okay, I'm hearing about this for the first time.
Okay, so this is what's crazy about it. Obviously, these stories, in some cases, are very serious stories. We're talking about murders and armed robbery, like some, not good stories. But the fact that you can put in any date last year and put Florida Man beside it and something comes up just goes to show how much happened in Florida. There is a story for everything involving a Florida man. So, Gurdeep.
Okay, so do you
go? Read yours.
Oh, you did.
We have handouts.
Do you go birth year as well, or just the date?
Just
the
date.
date.
Just the date. Okay.
You don't have to go back in years. That's the thing. You can do it in just this past
Should
year.
I read this out?
Just the first line.
Okay, so it says if you put in Gurdeep and April 18th in Florida.
You don't put in Gurdeep.
Oh, you don't put in. So you put in just your
the
birthday.
date.
You put Florida Man and your birthday.
And your okay. So it says. A naked Florida man in a Publix parking lot kicked trash cans and jumped on and punched cars while screaming, "I only had one beer," cops say. Oh my God.
I remember my first beer.
Birthday. Yeah. Go ahead,
Mine's
George.
kind of similar. So my birthday, June 27th, Florida man. Another naked Florida man stood in a fire, chanting gibberish, claiming the mushrooms did it, not the beer.
Oh my
It'd be the shrooms in this case.
Wow. Mine's a very serious story, but February 23rd is Florida man yells, "Murderers!" as he's executed for a slaying. So,
Whoa.
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, and the list goes on, and that's why this has gone viral, because people are trying it thinking, okay, this can't actually be true. But then sure enough, they put in their Florida man and their birthday, and some article of a bizarre story comes up.
Yeah, it's weird. They say the answer to every question is money, but the answer to every mystery and riddle is Florida.
Yeah.
Just Florida, but Florida man.
What is happening in Florida? What are we missing here?
What isn't happening in Florida is probably the better question. I'm not loving the gender equity in this story. Why is it Florida man? Why not Florida person, Florida woman?
Okay.
How about the Florida woman challenge? You should try this with Florida women in our days.
Well, why don't we try it? We'll try it in the commercial
sure
break.
it's
see
equal
what comes up.
opportunity.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it will be Florida woman divorces Florida man for
who just did this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But have you ever spent any amount of time, any serious amount of time in Florida, in the state, other than just the cities, the big cities?
Does a weekend
Driving around?
Does a weekend in South Beach qualify as?
Well, you know what? I mean, because South Beach attracts a lot of people that go clubbing and checking out architecture and stuff. But I've taken a few driving trips through the state. It is an experience, let me tell you something. And it's unique to the South, too. It is something completely unique.
Everybody obviously now in the control room and in our newsroom and at home, you're going to want to try this. So we're going to go over to our producer, Ryan Smith, right now. I guess he's got one for us.
So I just Googled my birthday and found out that a Florida man died in an explosion after attempting to microwave a microwave.
What? A micro-duckin'?
Yeah.
Wait, he died?
He put a microwave in a microwave and it exploded.
I'm
and
sorry,
he died.
I shouldn't laugh at someone's death, but that's nuts.
Oh, my goodness.
One thing that always gets this couch going, there's a few topics that are really buzz topics for us, but airplane etiquette is definitely one of them. Am I right?
Don't even get me started.
Yeah, okay, so there are a few unwritten rules, right? When you're flying, like don't kick the back of the seat in front of you, don't encroach onto the seat beside you, and also try to keep your children quiet and so on. That last one's a little spicy, because how do you quiet down your children? Recently on one journey, a few passengers decided to air out their wet swim trunks and bikinis by hanging them over the headrests of the seats on their flight.
Unbelievable.
So offside. Instagram account Passenger Shaming posted the photo, and it got over 3,000 likes with many comments slamming the people who did it. Not cool.
No, as Jerry would say, we're trying to have a civilization here.
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah, that's gross.
Some people might try to defend this. I'm not one of them. Some people might try to defend this by saying, they were probably at an all-inclusive that day, and their flight wasn't until later. They were still swimming all day, and they wanted to make sure that they were
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. You don't put the other
not.
passengers through it. Here's the problem with this story: is once you realize this site exists, you go to it and you start to see other examples. So I thought I'd share just a few with you.
Oh, no.
You're welcome to go do it yourself. But take a look. This one is interesting. I think instead of this person finding socks, they put rubber gloves on their feet.
They look like chicken feet.
Walking
Yeah,
around.
those are hand gloves.
Also,
hand rubber gloves.
Are those her pants, or does she have like leg
That's what I thought it was all
No,
leggings.
those are her pants. Those are her pants.
But,
But still, put on your shoes.
Yeah.
What's with people barefoot on a plane?
I don't get that either.
I
It's so
don't
unhygienic.
understand.
And they sometimes provide socks, so at least ask for those.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
A
this is
child went.
Yeah, Crayola crazy.
She was quiet though, the kid. So
Maybe.
there you go.
Yeah, that'll do
There are
it.
two evils, maybe.
There you
that's
go.
not nice.
And finally, this one.
Oh my God.
What am I looking at here?
Somebody in the front seat put their hair over the back seat.
Ew. Yeah,
So you can't
no.
even see your screen.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
You know, the plane is not your bathroom.
No.
Passengers.
not
This
your
is the
bed.
same. This is to me the same as people who ride public transit and put their feet on the seats.
Yeah.
You know, who knows where you've stepped? Would you do it at home?
Right.
And if you would, then you're never coming to my home.
And a lot of this has to do with encroaching on other people's space because she can have her hair, but keep it
Yes.
in your side. Where it gets a little complicated is armrests.
That is
It's
etiquette,
awful
yeah.
to be the middle person and have everyone like this on the armrest. Then you're stuck like this the whole
Apparently,
flight.
though, middle seat, you have the rights to both armrests. So if you're in the middle, you just take both
Do
of those.
you?
They're yours.
'Cause then-
Yeah, that's apparently the official rule.
Was that the passenger?
Yeah.
Fair, but if the
don't have
arms are
rights?
already there, what do? Do you start a
You
fight
say
with your
middle
neighbor?
seat gets, these are my armrests. I'm stuck in the middle between
Would you do
two.
that? You'd say that out loud. Middle seat.
Well,
Those are the rules. Everybody knows the rules. Would you do that?
I never book middle seat. I'm the person who, you know, when you can check in 24 hours ahead of time? I check in right 24 hours ahead of time. I take the aisle always. I don't want the window. I don't want the middle. I want the aisle.
Really? Why?
Yeah, because I don't like being stuck in
the
there. I
middle's
don't want to
not fun.
inconvenience people. I'm like, sorry, I gotta. You're sleeping, but I'm gonna do this. No, I just want the aisle. You can.
Yeah, and
I've been stuck in the middle and
Me
I've been in
too.
that situation
Yep.
and I've said nothing.
All right, well, here's something for you. A reporter was caught off guard when his feed went live without him knowing.
Continue to clear pockets of ISIS fighters who are hiding in caves and tunnels. NBC News' Matt Bradley is in eastern Syria in an area where the last remnants of the Islamic State and so-called caliphate were. Matt, what's the situation for you?
Oh, boy.
If we could have only seen the look on Gurdeep's face.
Oh, boy. Okay, so that is NBC's Matt Bradley, as you heard, from Ali Velshi. He was broadcasting from Syria about the fight against ISIS. The feed switched over before it was supposed to. Bradley didn't know. And so viewers got to see him spitting in his hand to fix the right side and left side of his hair. GIFs and memes followed, of course, on Twitter, and users freaked out over the gross moment. Well, your
Maybe
thought?
his mouth was full of hair gel.
Yeah.
Do we know that?
Maybe he dispenses dippity-doo.
For those that have watched a certain movie a while back.
Oh yeah,
it could've been
something
worse.
about Mary.
Oh, Ben Stiller. Yay.
However, you know, if you know you're coming up fairly quickly, you might want to be cautious. That's what we tend to do. We always think we have open mics, but sometimes, you know, last minute touches, I guess.
Well, let's look at the variables here. I'm going to
Yeah.
give him a pass, and I'll tell you why. A, he's in the field. B, he's in a war zone.
Yeah.
So he likely doesn't have access to all kinds of hair products or producers. Mind you, it is, it is a big network. Maybe he does. And it's in the middle of the desert, so there's probably not a lot of just water around. You know. So
I mean, for those reasons, you'll be forgiven for not having picture perfect
this is why.
hair.
If he was, in a studio and had people that were there to tweak his hair and stuff, I'd say, come on, man.
I gotta say
be
though,
careful.
his mop was looking pretty good.
Yeah, it was only that one little spot, like,
Pre-spit.
I have a feeling the director probably said,
Yeah,
in his
you got a hair
Yeah.
The hair's a little fluffy.
Yeah.
Do something about that hair.
Yeah.
And
Right.
That's exactly
and
what
he
I
got
do.
the wrong side.
And he
because
got
the
the
other
wrong
side that
spot.
was
Right.
sticking up.
You
Yeah, I'm with you, George. I mean, look, it could have been grosser. Like, I think everyone has been guilty at some point of like maybe licking their hand to fix
Yeah.
their hair or whatever, or fix an eyebrow. But at least he wasn't like picking his nose or something.
True.
I think if he had like licked his fingers
That's
and done,
exactly
it
what
would
I
have
was
been so
thinking.
much better than the
The
horn.
actual horn.
Yeah, when I first
Hey,
saw it,
you'll,
I thought,
no,
yeah,
do the
just
eyebrows.
a lick.
No, it's not
Yeah.
cute, but
It was the whole huck to,
And I want to be careful too of not laughing at him too much because you know what's going to happen to us inevitably. If we,
100%.
I'm actually this surprises me all the time. And like anytime I'm doing public speaking, people always ask what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you on TV. And I've been like, knock on wood, relatively lucky. But man, we work at a 24-hour station. The mics are always hot. We're live for all these straight hours. It's first thing in the morning. I am shocked that we collectively and individually have not had more horrendous moments. I mean, am I speaking out of
You know what that
turn
is?
here?
That's the jinx. What you just did
Yeah.
there.
It's like the Sports Illustrated.
So we'll all be
yeah.
off the air by the end of this show.
Yeah.
But you do, I think after a certain period of time, you develop certain filters. And again, those windows around being on air, if I'm 5 minutes from coming up, but you never know. You can come up at any time. So
Have you guys ever had anything horrendous happening?
I've said a couple of.
Like pre-YouTube, I guess. right?
Well, maybe, I don't know.
Anything you can tell us?
No.
So it turns out there is a use for that small hole at the end of a cutting board. This is a hack for you. Maybe you didn't know this.
Some might use the hole as a handle, something to hold on to while washing it, or perhaps a hole to hang the board. But a Kitchen Hacks video on YouTube, it shows that it's actually where the chopped, diced, or sliced foods goes through. The idea being that the hole is smaller than almost all pots, so there's no spillage. No need to line up your food and make it dive off the wide end of the board. Now, I don't know how I feel about this because I'm just so used to holding the handle and going the other way with putting my food in.
That's exactly what I've always, and then I thought, oh, it's a handy way to just store it, vertically, which we store it vertically with our other cutting boards in a drawer there. So I mean, it does, when you watch it though, it does make sense. But you see, the thing is, with a potentially dangerous knife in my hand, I always like that leverage of holding that handle when I tip up and scrape off, either into the bowl or into a frying pan or whatever. It does make, when you see it, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, right? But even just turning it around and holding it the other way.
I know.
And then a part of me is like, sometimes I use the knife, but sometimes I just use my hands to like slide it in. Right? And
that way you're keeping it on the edge in the bowl. I don't know. Maybe handles on both ends?
And a part of me is like, is this really a hack? Like, was it really designed for that? Or is it just a handle and now somebody's found another way to use the handle and is making me think that I've been doing it wrong this whole time, but I haven't been doing it wrong.
No.
Yeah.
You can handle any way you want. It's the chopping that we all got to get good at, so we don't cut our fingers off.
Yes, it's my cutting board and I'll do it the way I want.
What material do you have? What's your favorite material?
Wood.
Wood, yeah.
Yeah.
We had a bamboo one. I'm not crazy about it.
Yeah.
Good old wood.
I had a plastic one for a while too. I didn't like that either.
They get gross because they get all the wedge marks and all this. They get green. Ugh. The best thing since sliced bread is apparently sliced bagels. It's true. Well, according to this guy, a man from St. Louis tweeted out this picture of a box of bagels he ordered for coworkers, saying his slicing idea, which is kind of different, was a hit. The internet, though, not on board. Questions arose about how many slices per person is supposed to take, and people took issue with the size of the slices, asking how one was supposed to, put the spread on it, because they're not really uniform. And the end piece is going to be different, right? But you know what? Breaking bread bad is different. Some people, you're going to get a lot of comments, but it's kind of like it's the loaf slice, right? This to me is more indicative of something you dip. If it was toasted, then you could dip it in like peanut butter or like soft cream cheese, but
hold on, is this done before toast?
Yeah, they look plain. That's like it's a box of bagels, and they're not. They're
so then,
plain.
how do you toast? How do you put them in the toaster?
Well, that's the thing. If you toasted it, then cut them, I guess. But plain like that, I don't.
You can put it in a toaster oven, so with the flatbed ones. But I'm with you. Like, this looks ridiculous.
It does look ridiculous.
However, if you do it as a dipping idea for hummus or anything like that, even a sweet thing, and then you've got lots of little, it's like breaking bread and doing that whole thing. So I'm kind of okay with that.
But not the purpose of a bagel. That's not what. If you want to dip stuff, go get a pita. I'm just saying,
I'm down.
Okay, or the bread could be sliced with actual bread, other bread, not bagels.
I don't know. There's a difference, Doughy, because growing up in Montreal, there's different styles of bagels out there all over the place.
You should be the most outraged. You're from Montreal.
Trust me, there's a lot of outrage
The Montreal
going on
bagels, because they're
dense.
They're dense, but they're like those are thick, lots of bread with a small hole.
Yeah.
Montreal bagels are very thin with a giant hole. That wouldn't slice this way, right? You'd be getting a little knobs.
But it would be a little knobs. But that's, again, why you do it with the dipping. It would have to come with dipping sauces.
Right.
But there's another thing to consider, and I've kind of backed away from bagels because I looked at how much carb and calories there are in a bagel.
Yes.
And you know what? If someone brought it in sliced like this, I might be like, I haven't had a bagel in a while. I'm gonna grab a little piece and do a little dip. And
but it also doesn't make sense because we're so used to slicing a bagel the other way.
Sure, right.
So I feel like you'd almost be getting two pieces sliced this way, right?
Maybe he's just really cheap and he wants to feed more people with less. Here's 2 slices of a bagel for you.
But like, when was there a problem with the bagel? Like, what happened in 2019 that somebody said, you know what, we really need a different take on bagels.
We got to rethink the bagel slice.
Let's start slicing them differently.
No, look, I'm down with you. And Bill, I understand Bill's thing about the dipping thing, too. If you want that bagel experience instead of pita or any other kind of bread or cracker for dipping, then that might be a way to do it to get more bang for your bagel buck.
Maybe do one of the box or half a box like that for those that are trying to cut their
I'm really not sure why I'm so upset about this, but it is really bugging me. I always like to sort of give you some opportunities, some ideas for down the road. If you ever decide that maybe news isn't your thing anymore and maybe you want to try something, maybe like this, a NASA study, they're letting volunteers get paid to lie in bed for 2 months.
Pooja, You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I knew you would like this, but hold on. There's a catch.
I knew it.
Volunteers, they're being offered close to $25,000 to help NASA understand how space travel affects astronauts. So 24 volunteers will be subjected to the 60 days of permanent bed rest, 60 days in Cologne, Germany. Now, half will be spun around in a centrifuge at 30 revolutions a minute. I don't even know what that is.
I'll tell you. Okay.
Okay, it's all in the hope that it will force blood back into their extremities. Scientists will then compare the health of the spun and not spun participants. I don't know if you can ask for a special request. Like, can I be part of the non-spun group, please?
Look, the centrifuge that's like one of the keys for astronaut training. You can have all the math, all the brain power, physically fit, but the centrifuge is that thing they put you. So what is it, a bed now instead of a seat? They put you, it spins you around, tests your ability to deal with G-force.
Oh my.
Most of us humans pass out at around 8 Gs, I think. They have to be able to do minimum 10 Gs without just going out cold. And it's a bad feeling. Have you ever been in a big jet, one of those? I've been
in the chopper, and that was tough.
Well, I don't know how many Gs that is, but I went in the, what's their name? The blue, the Canadian Elite Force, the Snowbirds.
Oh, yeah.
I did that once and almost passed out. And I love height and speed, but it's a terrible feeling when you're going, your blood all goes, in different directions, and you're just about to go out and you're just about to throw up. It's a so
you don't want this job.
Yeah, if it was about just staying in bed.
Yeah.
But no, the G-force study.
But that's the beauty of this thing, is they have two groups, right? One group is not going to be spun and the other group is. So, maybe you ask for the non-spun group by special request. But it is interesting that, they need volunteers to be able to see what happens, right?
I could sleep in space.
Sure you
could. Nap anywhere.
Yeah, me too. I could do it right. I'm actually doing it right now.
You've been sleeping the whole time.
Yeah, the whole time.